These guys are wild. I just got them. Obviously some pyramiding. I'm not in control of who raises these tortoises, but I will give them good homes. Obviously, this male here, the black one, he's probably the darkest tortoise I've ever had. For a counterpart, his male friend there is honestly one of the lightest male tortoises I've ever had. And he has a smooth shell. The males don't look bad, a little bit of pyramiding. There is definitely some dominance. Like this black male, he really does beat on the two of them, really. And I can't wait to get this gal out of here another little bit here, and I will have them split up so that she can have some peace. She has a nice weight to her, which makes me think she has some eggs. She's been mounted, obviously, but they are persistent. Like, unless there's food around, they are chasing her, and she gets her steps in a day. There is no doubt about it. The worst way you can keep a tortoise is 1-to-1 with a male and a female. But the only thing worse than that is more males than females. Like, and these two males fight a little bit. Like, I've shared a few videos, the shell bashing, and yeah, the world does not. Male tortoises make the best pet, but they make the worst group pet. They are relentless. They will not stop. Even right now, like right now you think, oh, they're cuddling. That's what Disney has taught us. They're cuddling. No, he is putting the moves on her. He is trying to take her out for dinner, a show, and everything in between. And just persistent. But I do kind of like him and how light he is and how light his shell is. And I think he would make beautiful light babies. But side note of this is both these males are available for rehoming if you would like to inquire. If you're in Canada, give me a shout. I have no problem making these things go on an airplane. I only got these males for the idea of getting more females. If you're non-Canada, you may not know, but there's a shortage of tortoises in Canada, and I plan on breeding with the full intention of making them more available, especially as my groups grow. But I think I'm almost at capacity for the group. So females, I might get one more would be great. I've got the 2 males and my 1 hatchling, which is probably a male. So who knows, maybe that one will be for rehome. To me, as much as I love these tortoises, they are it's almost a little bit of a tortoise ranch. Like I want to make babies, and I want healthy tortoises, and I want to create good specimens and share my knowledge with others on how to feed for free so you don't end up with a shell like that. Chances are that tortoise has had like a coil bulb UVB, in my opinion. She's obviously got a split scute, and we're calling her Phyllis. I still haven't really determined names for the males because I usually do name them even if I rehome them in a day. I usually still name them, and I'm thinking Bert and Ernie, with Bert being black and Ernie being the more yellow, the lighter colored of the two. But see how they just do not leave her alone. And yeah, her shell is not great, but I keep giving her little shots of calcium because I want to. There's no correcting MBD. There's no correcting pyramiding. You can aim for smoother growth going forward, and hopefully that calcium that I give her goes straight to the bones and the shell density. But yeah, she is pyramided. If a tortoise ever passes away on me, I'm for sure doing a shell analysis. I'd love to see inside of one of their shells, especially when they're pyramided like this. I've seen them at a show, but I've never, at a reptile expo, but I've wanted to hold and really see and examine what MBD does to these characters. MBD is metabolic bone disease. It is a lightening of the shell density. Like, there's almost air pockets in the keratin shell instead of, see, this male's so randy, he's gonna pick on his buddy even. And that, in the meantime, it's just a pure dominance. Like, on a long term, the worst thing you can do is keep this female like this. The only way you can have a male and a female together is if he's got enough gals to pick on them all. So I'll probably throw a couple more clay pots in here, break up the line of sight, because I don't like having this many tortoises indoors. I usually don't want tortoises indoors this time of year, but I don't brumate tortoises on their first year of my ownership usually, unless I feel great about it, and maybe I got them in the spring and then by winter time I feel good. But biggest thing here, especially with a group like this, is quarantine. I can't risk exposing, let's say, if any of these would be sick or ill, and it's tough to tell. Like, I'm not a vet, but it's tough to tell, and so to expose them to the rest of my group and possibly bring in that illness, it's just not worth it when I'm this far invested into my group of my own. So maybe one more rehome and then I'm probably done. If I could have 2 males and 9 females, I feel like I would be pretty happy with that. With these guys being new, obviously, big thing here to me is getting tubular UVB, nice flood lamp for heat only, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, on a timer, totally consistent. I want their day to be predictable so that they can just 100% thrive. Like, when people just turn on and off their lights whenever they walk by it or whatever, like, that's not consistent. Like, you yourself during time change, or if you end up traveling and you get that jet lag feel, like, even you yourself, you've got to know that you feel that time difference. So their lights going off consistently, I do find helps thrive. What's wild is these guys, when I initially got them, I threw a cuttlefish bone in here and they erased it. So they're definitely lacking calcium, or at least one of them is. Someone ate an entire cuttlefish bone. But see how they just never leave her alone? So she'll be going on her own here for the rest of winter while I work on rehoming them. They are available, these 2 males. They're both pretty healthy. Neither of them, one thing I'm always concerned about with males is having a broken tail. I've seen that twice now, and maybe 3 times now, and that's totally due to a lack of MBD, or lack of calcium creating MBD. But these guys are great. Like, this is one beauty black guy. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of pardon me, some thickening of the keratin lines there of his shell, but man, what a beautiful character. That drapery of the male shell, I just find that so beautiful. Oh, and he's strong too. How that drapes in the back end on the male, I do just think that that's beautiful, and that's to stop the other males from mounting, which this guy, he's been mounted a fair bit. And just so light, like how their locales are different and how they've ended up in Canada. And well, Canada's kind of just been interbred, so that's only Eastern Hermanns, because if there were any Westerns or the Hercs that they call them, pardon me, I'm still battling a cold. Those 2 locales, like, or different species, you could say, are contributing to just a mix, and everyone just has Eastern Hermanns tortoises in Canada here. And we can't import anymore. We can't export. So what we have is what we have, and all I ever hear about is how there's so few breeders and less people contributing to the community. So I will do my part with making as many babies as possible of these guys. And who knows, I'd love to expand my species and maybe get like a group of Indian stars. My buddy Paul has a beautiful group of Indian stars, and I would definitely like to get more into them, because I just love the fact that you can feed them predominantly grass. And I happen to live in a very ranching, farming, agriculture area, so the idea of being able to just feed grass and my mallow weed mix that I do, I just think that would be just beautiful. Pro tip here, this is something I always do. Drill a couple lids in there and you got calcium. I always do calcium with vitamin D. This also has phosphorus. A friend gave me this, so I'll use it up. I don't think that they need a whole lot of it, and I usually use less is more. Like a small pinch is enough, because I always keep cuttlefish bone available for the calcium intake, as well as lump chalk I usually have on hand, but I'm getting a little bit low, so I'll have to do another order. I'd like to get into like limestone powder, so I'd like to get my hands on, but good luck. Might have to make my own here. See, they are relentless, these 2. They just will not leave her alone. Imagine living your life like that for years. So I'm excited to get this gal out in the garden by summertime, and just watch her thrive. That's another thing, is most of these tortoises, people don't put them in the sun because they're scared to leave them outside due to theft or not just theft per se, but also just like animals. Maybe they got rats or foxes. Luckily, we don't really have, well, Alberta is the one rat-free part of North America, God's country, and foxes are just not very predominant. The only thing I'd worry about is bunnies, but hopefully a bunny doesn't get the idea to eat these characters. I just love how proud this black one walks. He is such a proud guy. If I didn't have two males, I think I'd love to keep both these characters, to be honest with you, because they are not bad looking Sheilas. I always call them Sheilas, copy the crocodile hunter. But they definitely got their steps in here. Like they are wearing, I gotta get a little bit more coir or some soil sand I'll probably mix in here. This is a fresh batch because I had too much clay in the old stuff, and I was finding it was just getting hard and lumpy, and you'd add water and make mud. But yeah, they get their steps in. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Keep on giving you a little bit longer updates instead of just shorts.